I think anybody that's ever tried to commit suicide comes to a wall where they've tried everything else and they don't believe that anything will work and that anything will get any better, and they're just done. They don't want to deal with it anymore, and they can't live with how things are.
In high school, I was real active, played all kinds of sports, track, football, weightlifting, wrestling. I graduated with honors, got married to my high school sweetheart. When I joined, I was 24, 3 months boot camp. It was kind of rough because my little girl was barely 1 year old, so when I left, she was really attached to me.
I flew on the AWACS, and I was an airborne radar technician and a firefighter. And my job basically was to keep the radar running so that no enemies could sneak up behind us and kill us while we're trying to do our job. One of the things that impacted me the most when I was on the jet, a friend of mine called me up. It was a night mission. And he said, "Why don't you come up to the front of the cockpit and I want to show you something." I said, "Okay." So I went up. He gives me night vision goggles and he says, "Look down there." So I look down there. It looks like a laser light show. And I'm like, "Wow, that's cool. What's that?" He said, "You know, it's AAA gunfire, missiles, rocket launchers, stuff like that." And I said, "Here you go, dude. I don't." And I went back. And after that, I couldn't fly the same because I knew what was going on.
I was the first guy that would volunteer for any deployment, anything. I guess you could say I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. You know, the more dangerous, the more eager I was to go. But, you know, it's pretty terrible when you're in charge of a situation and a mother loses, you know, basically her whole family, and then comes to you and spits in your face and says you killed her family.
I was chosen for this mission. I don't know why, but I took it. An emergency run into Fallujah, the front lines of Fallujah. On the way in, 3 IEDs blew up underneath me. I knew what had happened. I just looked at my hands. All I could see was my bones and my fingers hanging. I could see where all the fire was coming from. I got hit in my face. My driver kept on screaming out my name. I was flown into Germany. From Germany, I got the news that they were gonna cut off my fingers. but they flew me out of Germany early. When I got back to the States, the doctor said that there was no need for them to do that. So that was a good thing. I didn't lose my fingers.
So it was about 3 weeks after I got out. I couldn't find a job. I was living on unemployment, which I'd never dealt with before. I was in a cramped little apartment with my dog and my 2 cats and a friend of mine. And everything sucked. Everything was horrible. I couldn't find any joy in anything. I didn't care anymore. I woke up on the couch one morning and I couldn't even barely move. I was in severe pain. I crawled off the couch into the bathroom and took the rest of my pills in all 3 of my bottles. I didn't even remember what they were. I just took them and I was done. And I woke up 12 hours later on the floor in the bathroom.
I felt the need to, I guess, kind of destroy myself. So I bought a bunch of alcohol, and at this point, I'm about 50, 60 pounds underweight from what I am now. And I just started drinking that morning, and I didn't stop. I was going after bottle after bottle after bottle, and then I was so mad that that wasn't working, I just started downing pills after pills to try to help induce this, you know, basically falling into an alcoholic coma and dying. At some point in the middle of the night, I called my mom. And I called her because, and I guess I said that I wanted to just tell her that I loved her and that I was, you know, in the process of killing myself, that I'd swallowed a bunch of pills and, you know, I could pass out any time now. But what I didn't know is at the same time, she had my stepdad call 911. All I remember is waking up, detoxing with IVs in me in the psychiatric floor of the VA hospital.
There, I was getting a medical discharge. I was served with a court order to report to court for a divorce. You know, she cheated on me. It's just something I just couldn't accept. And that's when it broke me down emotionally. I thought it would never do that, but it did. I thought I would be stronger than that, but I wasn't. I tried to overdose on Valium. Nobody was able to understand me, even if I tried, or I just couldn't speak to them about what I was going through. Because I didn't want to scare them, or they wouldn't understand me. It just got to the point where I just couldn't take it no more. I tried again to blow my brains out.
I cried a lot, and it was so surreal to me. Even in my childhood, I didn't cry that much because one of the things my dad really didn't like was, you're a man, men don't cry. So for me, I knew that was like one of the #1 reasons that I knew there was something wrong with me, because I just started crying. I was crying during AT&T commercials and things like that, that you just shouldn't be crying. I didn't know what PTSD was. I just thought I was an angry, violent person that wanted to hurt everybody around me.
Well, I knew that I wasn't sleeping well, and I was having terrible nightmares, but at the same time, I was trying to ignore them, and I was having really bad feelings of depression, and all of a sudden fits where I was crying for no reason at all. I was angry, outbursts. I wasn't talking to my family at all, and I felt really guilty. I felt responsible for people that had died. I felt really responsible.
I had a lot of anger issues in me. Anything would piss me off. I was already into the glass, the meth, which was just covering up my pain, but it wasn't helping me emotionally. It was breaking me down even more. School right now is a struggle for me because my brain is not functioning like it used to function. It's hard for me to remember things, even though I know the stuff. I get frustrated and I get stressed out. Sometimes it brings me down and I want to quit school. At the same time, I get mad at myself, get mad at what happened to me. Because I was never like that.
I can't remember very little anything. After you called me, half a day went by, I didn't remember until you called me again. And then I actually had to write it down somewhere. Otherwise, I would not have remembered. And it's not you, and it's not that I didn't want to do it. It's the process just doesn't stay there for very long.
The types of nightmares I have mostly are of experiences that I had or a situation that is kind of similar to an experience I had. And there's always death involved and screaming and a lot of just pain and a lot of horrific things, things that I don't even like talking about. But I've woken up in sweats, I've woken up alarmed. I've even experienced night terrors where I've had people had to wake me up because I was screaming and thrashing around in my sleep. So I haven't truly slept through a night in a long time. I average anywhere from 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night.
I still wake up all sweaty, wet and sweat. Can't remember my nightmares. I get startled real easy at night, especially with sounds. I have to come out and always look to see if I'm safe or not. Something was taken away from me when I was out there, when I got hurt. And I get mad, but they did take something away from me. And it's affecting everybody in my family.